bids are being opened for title sponsorship of the Indian Premier League and will be on till the 18th of August. Now, swirl of names doing the rounds about who will come in to replace Vivo after India-China ties have gone south, and Vivo also wanted to exit. There was pressure on IPL not to have a Chinese company as a title sponsor. Patanjali is just one of those names doing the round. But what we have learned exclusively is that it is quite a hunt and a bit of a struggle for BCCI to find a sponsor at this point who will come in at the same price. My colleague Utkarsh Chaturvedi now joins us with more details.
In fact, from the morning we've been saying that the two things which will happen for the first time in the IPL history. One will be that a bid for a title sponsor will only come for an year. It's this right is only for this IPL. The next IPL there will be again bidding. Normally the processes of IPL bidding is longer. It is through a tender process that it happens. But this time, given they have a short notice, they have made sure that they float an EOI. By 18th is when the EOI will, the date will end. I've been told by my sources that IPL committee, the governing council, is looking to finish everything by 25th, given the fact that the title sponsor does not have a lot of time. In fact, the title sponsor gets the rights from August of 18th, but by then getting all these formalities done will be difficult. 300 crores is the minimum turnover. Around that is what BCCI is also expecting to get. Remember, Vivo was paying somewhere north of 440 crore rupees, but now they understand the fact that this is a short notice. That in a time where there is a pandemic going on and there's only 10 to 15 days, September 10th is when this really starts, almost a month now the IPL starts. That is why BCCI also decided that they will settle for something lesser than 400 crores as well, somewhere around 250 crores, 300 crores is what I've been told by my top sources in IPL governing council that they will be okay to go for. Who will be bidding? As you said, Patanjali has gone on record when I spoke to them in the morning, said this is a great opportunity for vocal for local, and we are looking at the possibilities, but there are other names as well who are in the fray.
So what happens next, and what does it tell us about the market if even IPL, one of the most eye-catching events of the year, is now hunting for a sponsor at the same price point? Is it a reality check, and will they find a sponsor in this short notice? To speak on this, I'm joined now by Vivek Singh from Procam and of course at Guru Harish Bijur. Welcome to both of you and thank you so much for speaking with us. Harish, let me come to you first today and just your take on what's going on. Do you think it's going to be a bit of a last-minute struggle? Because this title sponsorship is up for grabs for just 1 year, is what we're learning.
Yes, there certainly are limitations, because if you really look at the title sponsorship, if it's out there just for 1 year, and if one is to say that Vivo is going to come back for the next balance 2 years, it simply means to say that the vacation is for a slot. And the slot is actually open for a period of time. Because theoretically, look at it this way, if we do have IPL happening now, as slated, the next IPL is going to happen within the next 6-7 months. If you really look at the fact that April could be the next IPL happening tenure. So this is going to be a bit of a fire sale. It's an excellent property. I'm not saying it's not an excellent property. It's a brilliant property. But for Vivo, it was a planned event. And for everyone else who wants to come in now as a title sponsor, this is going to be an unplanned event. And that's going to be used to bring down the prices from the 440 crore level to whatever it's bound to get down to.
Vivek, at this point, is there really not much of a choice except to go with whoever comes forth? And do you think there will also be a focus on getting a very quote-unquote Indian company? That's why Patanjali is at the forefront of all the stories today and seems to be the right fit in the current mood of things.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Tamanna. It's great to be on here with Harish and others. Yes, these are challenging times. The IPL is a very strong property. But we should remember that sponsorship is much more than just branding and advertising. Sponsorship is leveraging. Sponsorship is your ethos of your brand, product, or service coming through. And that's why this becomes challenging, because what are we going to have a situation, whoever it may be? We have a situation where a band jumps in, the opportunity to build a story, the opportunity to build a narrative, the opportunity to link the ethos and values of your product, brand, and service with what the IPL offers is extremely limited. It's not a fire sale just because somebody has to come in. It's a fire sale because where is the time to build that story? Where is the time to build a narrative? Where is the time to actually create a win-win situation in terms of what you want out of it? So eyeballs, branding, advertising is a very small percentage of sponsorship. And when we actually talk about the ethos of sponsorship, when we actually talk about why companies sponsor big ticket events, it's so many layers below. And those so many layers take time, take investment, take thinking, and sometimes take years to pan out. Now, from what we are hearing, there's a pause in the Vivo sponsorship. Another company comes in. Next year, we may go back to Vivo. What happens to the sponsor? What happens to how is he going to build this whole story and win from this association? These are the challenges I see. And that's why, in my opinion, it's a real fire sale. Coming to your next point about Patanjali, great if Patanjali does it, but there's also Amazon in the fray, which is not an Indian company. So I don't think it's so much about an Indian or not. I think it's about anybody who comes in and actually, in my opinion, bails out the BCCI in this situation, because there are so many connects and leveraging points that are challenging to use in this time scale.
Harish, if you were advising any of these companies, what would you tell them? And when we're talking about a fire sale, how deep do you think the cut will go? Now, what we're picking up is that the BCCI is mentally prepared for a 20 to 30% drop from the nearly 440 crore rupees they were supposed to get from Vivo. That itself was a huge jump over what they had in the last leg of sponsorships. So everyone's adjusting for Corona, that's fine. But do you think even, a title sponsorship in the 300 crore rupee range in this kind of market is ambitious?
Well, this is embarrassing because I've obviously already said what I had to say to people who are going to bid for it. But the point is simple, that I have to be fair. I must not only speak from the brand owner side of it, in terms of sponsors, because that would be running down the property of IPL, which is a well-made property. The advice simply would be to say that, hey, listen, guys. Both the IPL management and the individual brand owners who are going to bid for the IPL title sponsorship need to, make compromises. The compromise that the brand is going to make, the person who's going to invest in title sponsorship, is to say that, hey, listen, guys, this is a kind of a fire sale, and therefore I need a good price, and I need a good price because I'm coming in to bail you out. And that mentality is going to be there. But simultaneously, one needs to appreciate that from the IPL perspective, this is a terrific brand property. We have had a cricket vacuum in the market for a long period of time in terms of cricket content vacuum being there. Now that's going to get filled up. And the IPL is going to bring, hopefully, back the celebratory mood for the celebratory economy of the future. So brands are waiting, and brands haven't been able to spend too much of their money. It's all out there. But one piece of advice would be, IPL is certainly great cricket eye candy, and there is no other property which competes with that. But at the same time, if a person puts in 440 crores for 1 year, which nobody will, it means that you're going to invest another big chunk of maybe 150 crores on ground. So it's not only what you're spending for title sponsorship, but it's what you're going to lay out as a plan for the rest. And that plan for the rest does not exist with these companies. And therefore, this curry. And the last point is, I do believe three kinds of sponsors could come forward. One is a global company, which could be an Amazon, which could be a Coca-Cola. Let's spin all kinds of names there. That's one type of company. The second type of a company would be politically
Yeah.
correct country, because anybody who's non-China is going to be welcome, and then the Desi company is going to be respected because of the nationalistic sentiment that is fiery high at this point of time.
All right, so great options over there. Harish, just one follow up. What does it tell you about the market if even a property like IPL is struggling for a sponsor, even though it's possibly just for a year and there's a lot more that the advertiser has to put in. But what is it telling you about the overall economy and appetite in the market? If a stellar product like IPL also has to go and hunt now for a sponsor.
Okay, very quickly, it's a sad commentary on the market. It says that the market is damp and the market is not very excited about everything that's happening around. Fundamentally, because the market is locked up. The lockdown up to 5.0 has created a lockdown economy, an economy which is actually looking at the basics, and non-basics are not craved for at this point of time. So the basics are really basic food. And not too many basic food guys want to promote the IPL. The guys who promote the IPL are essentially guys who are in the celebratory part of the economy. It's the telecom company. It is the shoe. It is possibly an e-commerce major who wants to spur the festival sales ahead. Now, those kind of guys are going to be the guys who are also thinking and saying that the market is a bit of a damn squib at this point of time. The more important point is, after this IPL comes yet another IPL, which is not too many months away. Please keep that in mind.
Yeah. Vivek, I have to get your view on this because there is an exciting event that you are working on itself, a marathon where everyone joins in no matter where you are. And it's an experiment of sorts to find out what the appetite is in the market right now. What is your take on the fact that even a premium, A-grade event like IPL, the most vaunted in the sporting community, right now is in a bit of a pickle?
It's a very interesting situation and question. The lockdown is unprecedented. But I don't think the IPL or BCCI, if there's any tarnish or shadow on them. The Chinese aggression was something which was completely unplanned for. It has nothing to do with the coronavirus situation. Let's say the Chinese aggression had not happened. I'm sure BCCI and Viva would have sat across the table, come to terms about any kind of reduction as possible, and as two sensible partners agreed, and life would have moved on. So we are putting too much into the lockdown bucket and saying IPL is finding it difficult, IPL is hunting for a sponsor. Of course they are. But that's a very, very unique situation, compounded by a certain neighbor's aggression at the border. And thus, a simple renegotiation for a year is not working out, and they have to go for a fire sale in the market. So first, I think we should put that in perspective, that the lockdown is only a certain contributing factor, and the other extraneous circumstances are contributing in a major way. Otherwise, I'm sure both parties would have worked out. Maybe there would have been some reduction because the costs have increased. The IPL is moving to Dubai. The costs on the franchises have increased. The revenues from gate receipts, the certain other revenues have come down. So yes, there would have been a very, very practical solution to the compromises, a practical formula, a practical reduction maybe in the sponsorship fee, and life would have moved on. But instead of that, and instead of that unprecedented situation, there's another layer that has come on top, which is why the IPL is on a fire sale basis. So I think it's important to put that in perspective, number one. Number two, I think there are certain companies out there who can still win from the IPL situation. But they will be companies that need the IPL more than the IPL needs them, if I may say so. Patanjali is a good example of that. If Patanjali were to hammer out a deal with the BCCI for 2020, I think it's a win-win, because Patanjali would need IPL maybe a little more than the IPL would need Patanjali, in a manner of speaking, from a brand and marketing perspective. So it's a very interesting situation. It's a very unique situation. But we can't put all the responsibility onto the lockdown and say that our stellar property called IPL is finding it difficult. They wouldn't have, even with the lockdown, found it difficult.
No, but the fact is, Vivek, that in any other circumstance, an open slot would have seen sponsors lining up. After all, the IPL got several bids, and actually we will know at the end of this week what has been the kind of appetite, because now bids have only just opened. There are so many names as well doing the rounds.
So I repeat, sponsorship in this kind of a bubble is a very difficult thing, because apart from branding and advertising, the other returns on investment will be limited, and thus the challenge is there. But and thus, there are various other forces at play here, because sponsorship means so much more. It means a mind connect. It means an emotional quotient connect. It means an ethos connect. It means an extension of your brand personality or your product and service personality. Now, to establish all that in the time that we have is going to be very challenging. So, of course, the branding, advertising, and eyeballs still exist, and they will continue to exist. And it's, there's so little of international sporting events happening that there may be more eyeballs. But that's just one part of sponsorship. And real sponsorship has those other layers which I spoke about earlier. And those will be challenging to kind of find fits and narratives in this scenario.
Right. All right. So, see, it's a story that we've been tracking quite diligently on the India development debate. And this is the latest that we see today. The hunt for sponsors is on. It seems like a tough bargain right now. Vivek has called it a fire sale. We will see how deep the discount is, and also the variety of bids that come in. Who is it who will eventually grab title sponsorship? It's also an interesting reflection on what is happening in the economy right now. If the product is right, if the event is right, is the appetite still out there? And I want to thank both Vivek Singh and Harish Bijur for joining us on this conversation. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we are going to hear from the Amazon India chief on their big sale. What does it tell us about the consumption story? That interview after this break.